this is Jenny with Gunter Creative. This is the third video in a series of tutorials that will show you how I made these leather long stitch books. I'll really quickly go through how I came up and made the designs in Illustrator on the iPad and fixed them up in Illustrator on the desktop, and then how I lasered and painted the designs on the leather. So here we go. I'll show you real quick how I do my drawings on the iPad. I used to love Procreate, and I still do. We do a lot of drawings in Procreate, but it is a raster based program, so after you finish your drawings in there, you have to convert it to a vector in order to use the scoring feature on your laser. Scoring is so much faster than engraving. So with these new drawings, I have decided I needed to learn how to use Illustrator on the iPad, and I've really been enjoying it. You just need to create a new document. It really doesn't matter how big it is, because vectors can scale up and down without any loss of quality, no matter how big they are. So you come over here, you can add a picture from your camera or photos or files. I have some pictures in Dropbox that I've been pulling from, but then I also have photos in the Photos app. So here is a picture of my azaleas. Bring that in. Always lock this layer so I don't accidentally move it around. Create a new layer to keep you organized, and then come over here to the pencil tool, and this is for fill. You don't want it to have a fill, you want it to just have a stroke. So depending on what colors are in your picture, I think white would work well on here, but you can change the color to black or orange, or it really doesn't matter. Here you want to make sure that you're not closing your paths automatically. That can get kind of aggravating if you're just drawing lines. And here's where you can set your smoothing. If you have it way up, it might make a line with a little bit of curve in it into a straight line. A little bit of smoothing for me is good, but not a whole lot. So really all I do is zoom in here, make sure I'm on the pencil. And the great thing about the iPad and Apple Pencil is you can lean your hand on it and just like you're drawing with the pencil on actual paper. So I just come in here and use the drawing as a guide for my shapes. And with flowers, any kind of natural item, they're very forgiving. You don't have to be too particular. So there's the first flower, and then I might want to trace this one. Oops, go back, don't want that to happen. Trace this one. Then in this app you can use the selection tool, and you can select individual lines that you've drawn, or you can drag it and select the whole thing. I like when I finish one flower to select the whole thing and group them together. That way I can also right here duplicate it and have another flower, and you can use this here to rotate it into different positions. You can also put your finger on this nifty little circle here, which is like holding down the shift key, and adjust the size, and it keeps your proportions. If you didn't hold that down, then you can change your proportions if you wanted to. What else fun have I learned? I'm going to group that one. Then you can turn off, well, now that I've turned off the picture, you can't see my colors, so you can change the color. That's what's great about vector, is it's pretty well infinitely changeable. There's nothing set in stone with vector art. So probably what I would do now is bring in another picture that has some nice flower shapes and draw some more, and then I'll arrange them and rearrange them, and maybe do some leaves and overlapping of petals, and in here you can do some fine adjustments. But since I'm more used to using Illustrator on the desktop, I usually open it in Illustrator on my Mac and do the rest of the adjusting from there. And you can fiddle with it for quite some time, moving individual points to where you like it, and I'll adjust it to fit the shape of the leather that I'm going to cut out, and do some more editing where the things might overlap, sizing, and then from there I get it just right and ready to send to the laser. Please make sure when you send it to the laser, these files will come in with those score lines as cut lines usually. And just yesterday I was cutting one and I ruined a whole piece of prepared leather because I told myself to change that setting from cut to score, and somehow I didn't do it. Okay, now I'm just going to put a little bit of masking on the back because it tends to do okay and not burn too much on the front, but I don't really like the way the burn marks look on the back when I cut out the book. So I just cut that out, and I'm going to burnish it down real good. Probably hear my laser getting all warmed up in the background. I'm going to go ahead and trim it because next I'm going to get the front side of the leather a little bit wet. I don't want it peeling off. I don't want the masking peeling off the back if it gets wet. Otherwise, I'd just leave that little bit of masking on there. So now I'm just going to turn on the sink and run it under the sink until you can tell that it's wet, because it'll get a little bit darker. Now you can see it's just a little bit darker. I just ran it under the sink real quick until it all turned that darker color, and toweled off the excess. I just heard that if the leather's wet when you cut it, it won't burn, and I think that's true. Hopefully it's not my imagination. And when I pull it out of the laser, I'll be able to just rub off those char marks. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, I'm getting ready to paint the leather, and I printed out a smaller size of the design that will be on the leather, so that I can real quickly lay out the colors I want to use. This one, I didn't feel like I needed to do that because, you know, all the flowers are pink and all the leaves and stems are green. Pretty simple. But on this one, I wanted to do multiple colors. This is the picture that I took that I based it off of. So I printed that out. And this is the little template I made with the different colors that are available in the acrylic leather paint. I just took a piece of leather and printed out the squares and with the colors and painted all the different colors I have. Now these are water-based paints, so they can easily be mixed together or watered down to make colors other than what's available here. Okay, I look forward to doing it with the acrylic paints now and at full size. Okay, now I have dyed the whole piece of leather brown. I put it in the laser and scored my design, cut out the outside and the holes. I have colored in a little template to help me remember what colors I want to use. I stole my daughter's paint palette that we got at the dollar store. Should probably get my own. These are the paints that I ended up with. They are acrylic leather paints by Angelus, and I found them on Amazon, so easy to find. They come in these little 1 ounce bottles, but a little bit goes a long ways. Got a little cup of water and a towel underneath what I'm working on. I've got some paint brushes. These are all a little pointy. I haven't painted this design yet, so we'll see which ones work best. I think I'm gonna like this one. So according to my little template here, I think I'm going to start, well, probably the best idea is to start with the lightest color. I'm gonna start with yellow. I don't know if the paint has to be shaken or not, but that's just my inclination to always shake the paint. Okay, this particular brand of paint has this little, kind of looks like a nail polish brush on the inside. First time I opened it, it splattered across my desk. So I'm just going to put a little bit on the side of this, daub a little bit on the side there. Get my brush just a little bit wet, like you might with watercolor. And actually, I made the leather wet before I started too. Just ran it under the sink till it turned darker. So this isn't the final color. It will be a little bit lighter than that. So I got a little bit water on my brush. I'm going to get a little bit of paint and get started in all of these areas that will be yellow. And oh, look, I've already messed up. That one wasn't supposed to be yellow, but that should be okay. Mostly cover it with black if I decide that I don't want it to be yellow. Okay, now before it dries, I need to take my old dish towel and dab it, because you can see that paint gets in those score marks, and we don't want it to be in those score marks. I kind of ran into some technical difficulties last night and went ahead and finished all my painting off camera. I think really all I did was add another layer of yellow, and I went back and did a little bit more with the red, and then I used two slightly different mixes of green for all of my little greenery. Now that it's all dried, I'm going to put this golden mink oil to waterproof, preserve, and condition the leather. It's just this waxy substance, and I'll just take another portion of my dish towel here, get some on, and rub it in circular movements. This will make the leather just a little bit shinier. Also put a little bit more oils back into it. Once it seems like you've got enough, looks like it does a good job of bringing out some of those score lines too. And now all those score lines are all nice and dark, even where they did get paint in them. Okay, I think that's probably good there. Now I'm just going to turn my rag around a little bit, take a clean side and buff it. Okay, now that the cover is ready, next steps will be tearing your paper to size, punching the holes, and stitching the book.